I'm a consultant and a certified hypnotherapist. And every week I come to you with relationship talk. And I'm excited to be here. But before I go on, please subscribe to this channel so you get all my latest downloads and you get all my weekly videos. So today's topic is knowing the signs that your relationship is dying, that it's losing its spark, or maybe it may even be beyond repair. Now, let's face it, gentlemen, all relationships have their ups and downs. And, being a couple takes work. I mean, who doesn't think a relationship takes work? I'm sure you would agree with me. But what happens when the relationship is more work than play? Well, that's pretty obvious that when that happens, you're going to have come across some problems, right? And, who wants problems? Who wants drama in their life? And I know a lot of guys want relationships. They say, Stefania, I'm just looking for a relationship that has no drama. So relationships need work. They need time and effort. And I really wanted to talk about, looking at when to know that your relationship is dying, when to know that the spark and the flame is actually dwindling off. Now, when you've been with someone for so many years, um, particularly for many years, your relationship naturally can go through phases. You may have children, you come into what we call relationship stresses. That's what I call them. And this might look like having financial problems, for example, or there may be family obligations. Someone passes in either side of the family. There's stresses. There's you know children. Let's not forget the children when they come along, and all this brings on stress in a couple. And when you've really lost that spark because things are becoming too intense and puts a lot of pressure on the relationship, you know, these can be signs that can say, okay, what's happening with my relationship? Is that flame dying? Is it beyond repair? So I just wanted to quickly touch on the signs, the most obvious ones. And obviously there's lots of signs, but the most obvious ones, and I always put this one first because men, physical touch is really, or physical intimacy, I should say, is really, really important. So when there's no physical touch and there's no physical intimacy, this also puts a lot of pressure on the relationship. And it it's sort of a good sign to say that your relationship is on its way out. It doesn't mean, not just about sex, okay? It doesn't mean that it always means no sex, there's no intimacy. No, I'm talking even about, holding hands, cuddling, giving each other compliments. That's all part of intimacy. And the spark of a relationship depends on these things as well. Number two, you don't have date nights anymore. Now, I think I always encourage couples to have date nights, what I call date nights, or committing to um, spending time together, going out, having fun. It must be a priority in your relationship, because sometimes when we are busy working and attending to other commitments, we stop celebrating those little things that are somewhat important, particularly to women, like anniversaries, birthdays, spontaneity, and having like surprise dates or rekindling that spark in a relationship is super, super important. Number three, is when you stop making the effort. When both parties are not making the effort, we are going into the danger zone. And that is, when I talk about stop making the effort on physical appearances, especially. Okay. Now, you're bound to get older. That's a given, right? But, you know, sometimes we can gain a little bit of weight and, over a long term. But when we start losing interest on ourselves, on looking good, feeling healthy, you know, and when you stop doing this for yourself, you somewhat stop doing it for your partner as well. And I know you gentlemen are very visual. Most men are visual, and it's important to see your partner looking nice and dressing up you know, and if she starts losing that, and then you start losing that, it works both ways. A woman likes to see her man look after his physical appearance, even if you've been in a relationship for a long time. Okay. Very, very important. That's another sign. And the last one is when you lose interest and pretty much, stop spending time together. When a relationship loses that spark, you know, you may end up spending more time with your friends, um, rather than your partner. You may end up spending more time at work because you have, commitments at work. You have, a career that you want to bring forward. And sometimes we can get too self-absorbed in that spending time away because you're trying to focus on making money, growing your business, or meeting your target at work. And these are all things which is going to, um, I guess, be pressure, cause that pressure of feeling, particularly for a woman, she may feel rejected. She may feel like she's being punished by a partner, particularly when if it's intentional and you're avoiding to be together. All right. So they're just a few. Not to mention, we have communication breakdown when we're not communicating effectively and efficiently with our partners. And that also includes listening. Okay. Listening is part of communicating because when you give in your partner space and time to listen to her, these are all part of being present and being connected and emotionally connected with your woman. Now, the question I get a lot of is it normal to lose spark in your relationship? Or some people actually use it as a statement, say it's normal to lose, that spark in your relationship. It's normal to go through that phase. Well, I say yes. It's common for long-term couples to start wondering, how to keep that relationship alive because they may be feeling like something is dying, their relationship is dying. But it's when you lose that spark in that relationship that becomes the problem. Okay. The problem actually, it's not when you lose the spark, sorry, that it becomes a problem. The problem is actually when the couple lack the commitment to keeping the spark going, to rekindling the relationship, to bring more, whatever it takes, more romance, more being together, more commitment and making effort. Unfortunately, this, passion of an intimacy is often accepted in our society of, dwindling down. But particularly after you've been with someone for a particular amount of years, like they say, the 7-year itch, things are starting to change. I seem to say that it's a myth. Okay. You never you've always got the ability to change things around, to invest more time, more effort, bring more passion into that relationship. And of course, you need I always say you need two to tango, or you need two hands to clap, right? But let's look at the reasons for losing the spark in the relationship. Okay. We did mention that, many reasons that we lose sight. Couples have different reasons. It may be that they don't have enough time to actually spend together. Your priorities change. You have different values. That connection is slowly being lost because of that loss of commitment, right? There's countless amounts of reasons why you may outgrow each other. Sometimes I've heard of relationships where they start off really hot and steamy, and then for some reason they become like good friends, or living together like roommates. I've heard that happen quite a lot. But all these things, you know, are signs that your relationship could be dying, or when you're both not making that effort to bring back that flame, rekindle that spark, that flame back into your relationship, it could actually end up being, non-repairable, as I say, beyond repair. So when you spend less time together, obviously you're losing out on, there's going to be loss of intimacy. There's going to be loss of connection, communication, that attraction that you originally had will start dwindling down. It's like anything. It needs work. It's like I always say relationships are like, a business. You need to invest. You need to put the time and the effort into making that relationship, keeping that relationship alive, and, having conversations between you and your partner, discussing how you feel, checking in on each other, um, as to how your partner's going, not just presume. Sometimes we can get lost in the whole, um, you know, mind of thinking, well, if she had a problem, she would tell me, or if there's something wrong, um, she'd let me know. But sometimes a woman won't let you know. I know that's the crazy part. Sometimes she does, right? Sometimes she can be a big nag and keep telling you. But sometimes she won't let you know. Sometimes she'll step back to just see whether you step up on your game. Yes, I guess it's called testing for some people. So keeping that spark alive, keeping that relationship from dying is what's, got to be a priority. If that is going to be a priority in your life, you have to invest. You have to make the time. You have to, have those conversations. So, just quickly, I just wanted to, say, how do we actually keep a relationship alive? Well, creativity. We need to create. We need to be creative in the mind. It's like when you first started dating, right? When you first started dating and courting, your partner, who might be your wife or just your fiance. What were you doing? What were how, to what lengths were you going to get that, attention from her, and have that attraction and keep that flame going? Think back to the start of your relationship. What were you willing to do to keep her interested, to keep, that whole, um, you and her together happy and joyful? And now you can be asking yourself, what are you willing to do now? Okay. Are you willing to go to those extremes? Know that you have done it, and that you did put in the work to actually, have that relationship with her. You can't expect something to change without your input. Okay. Now, I always say, The fact that your relationship might be dying is also a reflection of our thoughts. What are we thinking? What mindset are we in? Because if we're continually in a negative mindset, it's going to reflect on how we feel and how we show up in the relationship and how we what energy are we bringing into the relationship. So I always say, being creative, thinking back to what you used to be, and then bringing that back in. And there's nothing wrong with that. It may just very well, bring some change and bring some excitement and, rekindle definitely that flame. Number two, I always say talk to your partner, okay? Talk to her. I mean, because usually, we say women love connection, women love the emotional connection, the communication is a must to keep that flame going. Now, talking doesn't just mean chatting about anything. Talking means really just bringing up topics, bringing up being vulnerable, having that conversation of how you feel, checking in on her, as I said earlier, understanding, you know, what her needs are and if her needs have been met, and if there's anything that you can do um, that you may say something like this. I always say, a great line is saying, is there anything that you want me to do? And is there anything that I haven't been doing that I'm not aware of? I mean, that is a perfect line to say to a woman, because to her, she's thinking, oh my God, he's taking time to actually, um, know what I want, know what maybe missing. So I think that's a really great way to go to keep that communication. Research shows that five we need to have 5 times as many positive communications as we need negative ones in a relationship. So keep our conversations positive. Keep them, having that check-in and, talking to yourself and asking yourself, well, what am I actually thinking? Is this a positive thought? Because if it's not a positive thought, it will reflect on the conversations that you have with her. All right. So always be mindful of your own thoughts and what you're thinking and what you want to bring to the relationship. How do you want to feel in this relationship? Because part of you can bring that feeling in and ignite that. And if she feels that stimulation as well, she's going to bring her flame in, and it's just going to, like a bonfire, create big flames of great, fun and communication, and making that a priority, making that a real, you know, priority in your life to make this relationship work before it actually dies and it's beyond repair. And the last one that I just quickly want to tap in is, plan surprises. Women, I always say this, women love surprises. And when you can be spontaneous and, your surprises don't have to be expensive. You don't have to have big weekends away or big holidays. Your surprises can be, even a night out, or, texting her to get ready because you're going to take her out for the night, or surprise it. Whatever it is, spend quality time with her, because, I think this is really important when you can both be present and be, you know, connected. There's nothing more refreshing for a woman is to be present and, you know, put work aside, put your friends aside, put your phone aside, and just spend that quality time with her. So they're just a few ideas on how to actually, keep that relationship alive. But once again, the signs. I always say, gentlemen, the signs of, acknowledging, realizing that your relationship may be dying, just sitting back and waiting for something to change without your input is fatal. Yes, it is, I guess, waiting for a bomb to go off. It's waiting for an explosion. Because if you sit back and then she sits back and you're both doing this, sitting back and waiting for each other to bring that relationship alive, you'll find that, you know, either yourself or your partner maybe, you know, have wandering thoughts and start, you know, possibly putting attention and intentions also with someone else. And you don't want that to happen. You want to keep that relationship alive. If that's what you want, if that's your intention, put in the work, put in the effort, and be present. All right. So I hope that was helpful for you. If you have any questions at all, please let us know. Put a comment in the feed. I always get back to you. And yeah, look out for those signs to see if that relationship is dying and losing its spark. Bring that spark back into your relationship, because if you've been together for so long and there is still love there, it's worth salvaging. It's worth keeping it alive and rekindle it and making it a new chapter in your life. So if you like this video, please press like, share it with your friends, and as always, I look forward to chatting with you every week, bringing to you more content. Um, Please let the comments come through. Tell me what you want to hear more of. And as always, I send you lots of love, lots of passion, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.